Welcome to another edition of The Buzz, live on Galaxy Television. Is the lifestyle edition of the program, and that's typical of Thursdays on the show. Thursdays is when we talk about family, we talk about relationships, we talk about parenting, we talk about even our finances, all right, our saving habits, spending habits. We talk also about literally everything that affects our lifestyle as a people. Today, we'll be looking at health, all right, and that's because it is that important. Welcome to the program. My name is Patience. It is a pleasure to be here as always, and today is Thursday, is the 9th of November 2023. Well, very quickly, let me just say that our food inflation has been surging to very alarming heights in recent times, all right? The nation is grappling with perhaps one of the most challenging economic issues at the moment, and it's affecting the price or the cost of food items in the market. So today, we'll be looking at how we can still live and especially eat healthy while on a very tight budget. That's what we'll be looking at today, because quite unfortunately, a lot of people are no longer considering nutrition in their diet. It's about eating whatever is available, and this can portend some very, very dangerous pattern in our lives as a people and as a nation. But I'm not alone on the program. Joining me this afternoon, it is with pleasure that I welcome to the table. He is a natural health specialist. He's also a health columnist. It's a pleasure to have Dr. Solomon Abuto join us at the table. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Solomon.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to see you after a long while.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to the show.
It's been quite a while, yes.
All right, and I also have another guest on the program. First of all, she's a woman. She goes to the markets. Okay, so that is number one reason why she's relevant to this conversation. Plus, also, she's a television host. She's also an evangelist. She's also a counselor. It's a pleasure to have my friend, my sister, Imelda Maki Igwe on the show. Good afternoon, Maki.
Good afternoon, Lady P. Thank you.
Green looks good on you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. And I have a virtual guest who is also joining us from home. It's a pleasure to have this man take our time to be. He's a very busy man. I have to tell you that. He is a fitness coach. He's a wellness enthusiast, and he's a food scientist. It's a pleasure to have Joseph Obed Etiara join us on Zoom. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Etiara. I hope you can hear me. Okay?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Welcome to the show. Yes, thank you for joining the program. All right, so just hang in there. I'll be coming over to you soon with questions that I have. All right, so back to you, the audience. Don't forget, you can contribute to the show via SMS, all right? If you have questions, you have comments or observations, the number to use is on the screen. Having said that, like I mentioned before, Nigeria's food inflation has surged to alarming heights, reaching a year-on-year rate of 25.25%, and that is as of June this year. We're in November, months down the line, it is higher than that. Now, as Nigeria continues to grapple with economic challenges, many Nigerians are feeling the impact of rising food prices, which is leading to a change in lifestyle patterns, all right? The prices for oil, fats, bread, cereals, tubers, all right? Fish, meat, potatoes, yam, literally everything, fruits, everything, even the vegetables doctors say we should be eating. Everything is beyond reach of the common man right now. Food prices, eggs, everything have risen like over 100%. Okay, so it is a lot for a lot of families right now. Now, the consequences of this is very, very dire. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be getting to that in a bit. But then the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, predicts that 25 million more Nigerians will face hunger before the end of this year, 2023, unless something urgent is done about it. All right, so in light of this, we're discussing at the table, seeing that people now have to cut their coats according to their cloth, not even their sizes anymore. All right, so how can families, all right, actually make their budget work for them in a way that they can still eat what is available, but make the most of it? All right, so the question or the topic we're looking at today is, how do we live and eat healthy while on a very tight budget? I would like to start with you, Dr. Abuto. All right, food is that essential to human life. All right, we cannot do without eating. Okay, now to eat now is a lot, Nigeria. How can we mitigate?
Well, thank you very much
You're welcome.
for that beautiful intro. Food is the fuel that keeps the human body going.
True.
The human body is a very complex machine that are unfortunately taken for granted by so many people. And because of that, we have situations where people fall into health conditions that are debilitating, life-threatening, expensive to treat, sometimes too late to treat. All of this because they've ignored the major component of human existence, which is food. Now, even when food was cheap, people still made mistakes. People were careless with what they ingested. And when you ingest the wrong thing, it tells on your digestive system. It tells ultimately when whatever you've ingested is being absorbed. It tells on the blood, the color of blood that you carry, because ultimately when the food is broken down, it goes to your blood, and before it now begin to become a source of nutrient for your body, for the entire human system. So what a man eats or ingests is very, very vital, irrespective of whether it is cheap or not. Even when food was very cheap, people were careless in their eating pattern. And we've seen conditions where people got to a stage where they no longer had a sense to live. Even with the money, there was nothing else. Food is
I get your
very
point,
vital.
but the way where we are now is more like we are in between the what? How do they say, the rock and the very hard place? All right, so people are not left with so much to choose from.
Yeah.
All right, so you are talking about making informed choices, you know, on what you put on your plate.
Yeah.
So let us assume
Yeah.
that we're talking within the context of there's not so much money
Yes.
available.
Yes.
So how do we make smart choices when it comes to what we take in as food?
Well, as it has turned out to be, even in a situation where the Food and Agriculture Organization has issued that kind of
Sounding
strong
the alarm,
warning,
yeah.
the warning is telling population they face already is biting.
Yeah.
And if man must live, man must exist, they must find a way to eat. So how do we balance food scarcity? Because in elementary economics, when you have fewer, less money pursuing, you have lots more food. You have food, but you don't have the cash to buy. So there's scarcity. There's scarcity now. But how do we survive? You must survive. Every man must survive. The body will need food to eat. So the thing is, how do we balance it? Luckily, in our own environment, we have different food sources that we can harness and be able to not just stay alive, but stay healthy.
Okay.
One of the major components of what I'm talking about is the vegetable. is a vegetable. If you go around anywhere, any corner, you'll find people doing one little thing about trying to grow vegetables. We are lucky to have a tropical environment where we can grow these things, even on a small scale. So vegetable is a major source of this subsistence pattern or plan that we must adopt, or strategy that we must adopt.
Okay.
Vegetable is number one.
Vegetable. All right, we'll come back
Yes,
and
yes,
talk about
yes.
more food we can harness, like you put it. Monkey,
Yes.
let's talk about this issue of food and the fact that people don't have the purchasing power, you know, to buy quality food. You know what I mean by that, all right? So the available becomes the preferred. What has been your experience with this so far? As a woman, a mother, you know, who goes to the market and is faced with this every day.
For real, it's been a challenging period, not just for me, but I believe for every Nigerian. And the truth of it is we must know, or we must not forget in a hurry, that times changes, and when that happens, we also have to adjust. We also have to change the pattern or the method in order to fit in, or in order to survive that prevailing phase we find ourselves. And for me personally, I can say I've drastically adjusted to the things I buy. I saw a video sometime, somebody wrote 2020 or 2021, he went to the market with 20,000 and the house was almost filled up with stuff. And then in 2023, he went to the market and he had just one or two things to count
With the same amount
with the
of
same
money.
amount of money. So what I'm trying to say, for me personally, I've adjusted. There are things I just buy, but now I buy what is needed. Okay, not necessarily what I want now, but what can sustain us. At the same time, like doctor said, I do more of fruits, more of vegetables, you know. I go back to those things they call common food. This is the time for us to realize that they were really, or they were never common food. It's just the way the society made it to be, or made us to believe. For instance, abacha is very good. You can join abacha with...
That's made from cassava.
Cassava, that's what I
Okay.
said. From cassava, join it with palm oil, crayfish, and stuff like that, and you're good
You
to
have
go.
a meal.
You're good to go. You eat, drink water, that's a meal. But the society make it to look like that's a common food. We talk about okra. These are good, you know, what's it called now? You can make very beautiful, delicious soup out of okra. You must not put meat. If you can't afford meat, you must not put meat. You can use fish. You can even use
Fish is not cheap,
Even banana
oh.
fish is very expensive now.
Very.
You can do with crayfish, you can do with pepper, you can do with onions. Put it together, the family eats. And one thing, like, you know, anytime I talk, I always come from the God perspective. When something is bad, when you bless it in the name of the Lord, it becomes sanctified. To be honest with you. And that which you think it will not get you, it will turn into what you want it to be for you. And that becomes nutritious for you. That's the truth. In time of war, sir, what have people ate a lot of things ordinarily they will not eat, but they survived it. Those things didn't harm them because of the prevailing situation they found themselves. So when you turn it with faith, you turn it, Father, let this become every nutrient we want. It becomes what you have prayed for it to be, once you believe. So for me, this period is a time for everybody to tell ourselves the truth. Don't go and start borrowing money because you want to live for your neighbor to see, oh, you're eating rice and chicken. You're deceiving yourself. Do the one, that same amount of money can actually carry you for 2 or 3 days. If you adjust, eat what is available, what the money can purchase, and what you can use it to extend the time. Ordinarily, the money can take you for just 1 day, but it can as well, with the time we are in right now, the same money can
Stretch it. Stretch it
So
a
it's
bit.
just possible to adjust.
Okay. All right. So Monkey is advocating putting our faith to work at this point in time. All right. Let's bring Mr. Obed Etiara into the conversation. You are a wellness or fitness enthusiast and coach, and you're also a food scientist. Please tell us, all right, what lack of certain nutrients, you know, will actually do to the body, so that people understand that when they eat food that is not wholesome, you know, what it does or what they are doing to their body, and also how can we come around this, you know, seeing that people can afford so many things anymore, like meat and fish and eggs and things like that. How do we go around it and still ensure that we're eating what would do our body some good?
Wow, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Doctor, you just you got into my heart, son. You pulled out something that was quite interesting, really. You
I'm
know,
not hearing
man, we're
you.
a complex machine. Can you hear me?
I think you need to check your audio.
Okay,
I
can
can't
you hear
hear
me
you
now?
clearly.
Can-
Hello, can
Can
you
you hear me
hear
now?
me? I can hear
Yes,
you now.
I can hear you.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I
You're
was just
welcome.
extending my gratitude to the doctor. You know that.
Okay.
Thank you so much. When you spoke about man, we're a machine. And when I tell people, look, we're a machine, when people say, look, why are you sounding that way? It's bad. It's not nice. I always say them, look, God is a master strategist and is a creator, right? He
Yes,
made
yes.
an amazing machine. You know, I was just looking at the hand yesterday, just your palm, your wrist, your palm, your fingers, and all that. And very interesting that you have 27 joints, you know, talking about ligaments, talking about tendons, you know, all that, and talking about the nerves and the tissues and everything. And I was like, oh, wow, we're just so, the man is just too complex. Human are so complex. Now, you're talking about food, living and eating healthy on a tight budget. I love those two words, living and eating healthy.
Eating.
Health there is, I think, is the key thing there. Because health is wealth. People say health is wealth, some say health is cheap. Disease is very, very, very expensive. Now, when you think of health, when you think of it, you also think of what you eat. Because you're what you eat. And thank you so
Yes,
much,
you
Ma.
are.
I'm so grateful for this. You're not just only what you eat, because we've heard that a lot. People come to my class, you know, people consult me and they say to me, look, I've heard that you're what you eat, you know, all that. So they tend to go away from some, they stay away from some, and they eat some. And I said, look, you're not just only what you eat, you're what you absorb. And Dr. rightly said it. Because everything you eat has a potential to produce life or death.
Okay. Wow.
So whatever you're buying, whatever you're cooking, before you eat that meal, before you pick that spoon and have just one spoon, okay, let me just take one spoon into my mouth. Ask yourself, is it going to produce life or is it going to produce death? The Holy Book, God has said, look, He said, I bring before you death and life. And His advice is for you to choose life, that you may live, not just only you. Because if you're healthy as a wife or as a husband, your kids will be healthy. It's what you cook in the house for me, as you know, I will eat as your husband. If you give me
True.
junks, I'm going to eat junks. That's the thing. So you're asking yourself, what am I going to eat? Oh, I can't afford chicken. I can't afford fish. I can't afford meat. You can't afford beef. You can't afford dry fish. You can't afford stockfish. Or you just want the center and the food, right? Okay. Doctor spoke about vegetable. What type of vegetable are you eating? Because it's not about the meat. It's about the vegetable in your plate. Because now you're looking at roughages. You're looking at getting the required nutrients on a daily basis. It's like your car. It's like your car. You don't buy fuel at every gas station you see. You don't. You don't just buy. If you take your car for servicing, for example, there are different types of oil. But people will say to you, look, if it's not this particular
They want
oil,
a particular
I don't want it
brand.
on my
That's
car.
right.
A particular brand. That's the thing.
Yes.
Same with your generator. Why not the human body? Why not this your complex machine? So you just eat anything and everything you see. You eat because you think it's nice, like, you know, and I want to show my neighbors that, look, oh, I've arrived now. So I go into the shop, I buy all the juice, you know, that I come back and I sit down and I drink juice. You see my kids, we're all drinking juice. When they go to our trash bin, they see juice, a pack of juice, or they see snack, biscuit, and all that. The question you're not asking yourself is, what is this
Oh, okay.
going
You're
to? It
freezing
goes
up now.
right
Okay.
into your bloodstream.
All right, we're back.
Healthy. So it depends. Let me.
Okay. All right. I think you are just buttressed a whole lot of what the doctor said and also what Moki said. Moki talked about you not trying to show off to anybody right now. It's not the time for you to be wanting people to know that you are living large, all right? It's more about you cutting your coat according to your size. All right, I'll come back to you to your size. I'll come back to you in a minute, Joseph. But back to you, doctor.
Yes.
So we're talking about vegetables.
Yes.
Joseph just mentioned what kind of vegetables should we eat. Moki already talked about okra. I do know that okra is, against, aside being very nutritious. It's very medicinal as well. I know that. So aside that, what other kinds of vegetables can people actually incorporate into their diet at this point?
That's a very good question, in the sense that different vegetables, they carry or they possess different nutritional or medicinal properties.
Okay.
Some of them are blood enriching, mostly blood enriching. They also help to move your bowel. In other words, some of them, they help to prevent hemorrhage. So when you identify them, don't forget that we'll have vegetables that you have to cook before you take them. There are others you can take raw, you know the raw one. But the raw ones are more acidic. You understand? I'm not gonna say they are more acidic. So one has to be careful in choosing those raw ones in order not to have problems because of the pH level. Because with vegetables like that, it will determine what you eat, the type you eat will determine your pH level. And the pH level could be triggered by, again, by your blood group. Compatibility here. I once, if I may digress a little, I once consulted for somebody and I insisted on a particular citrus fruit. There are 5 of them in the family, but there was one particular one. I said, this is what is good for your blood group. Because I insisted on having the blood before I started doing anything. And I said, this particular one, he looked at me for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then he said one day, he said, you know what? He said, this particular food you are talking about, he first argued, but he said, after some pause, and I said, this particular food we're insisting on, do you know my wife took my photograph to a consultant in Europe, and she was told the same thing you are saying now. So I not believe you. So you know what he did? He pulled a drawer and gave me my money on the spot. That's how we became friends. They now began to trust me. So the pH level determined by the type of vegetables you want to take here, all right, and the blood group that you possess. There's not a story for this forum here, but I'm just mentioning because it's important.
I understand.
So your pH level, the normal threshold is 7.4. All right, so when you take wrong vegetables or take them in the wrong form, like the wrong ones, then you trigger problems. You start beginning to alter the threshold. So vegetables are good.
So it's better to go with those ones you can at least cook a little bit. Okay, a little bit before you consume. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So so incorporate more vegetables into literally everything you're eating.
Yeah.
What more?
Now, the basic thing, if you like to have a whole bowl of gari, right? It is garbage in, garbage out. What will process that bowl of gari that you have, as expensive as gari is right now, is the little things you add like vegetables. It is vegetable that I want to process for the gari to make meaning in your system. You must have this vegetable to go with it. And then that is first and foremost. Then if you want to go a little bit into beef is expensive now, but if you don't have money to buy beef, you can go to fish or the prawns or crayfish. Just to give you some tips. But basically, see, if you have good soup with enough sufficient vegetables
in it,
gari or whatever will go smoothly and it will enrich your blood. It is not really the beef that is the issue. The basic thing here, because of the situation that's staring the nation in the face, is what can go with the basic starch that you can afford. Is it yam or rice or gari or whatever?
Exactly.
It's the vegetable that can go with it.
Exactly.
And then you add your...
Not forgetting to mention that our staples here in Nigeria are basically carbohydrates.
Yeah, well, we love it,
yes. So it's more about the gari, the lafu, the fufu, the yam.
Exactly.
All right, so vegetables will go with most of our staples.
Into your bloodstream.
All right, Moki.
This is becoming interesting, but the truth of it is that I want us to understand this. You see, whether you eat diet food, you eat balanced diet food, or you don't, what will kill will kill. I've seen people that they on diets, as in they don't mix anything. The doctor or whoever is in charge has prescribed or recommended for them the particular thing to eat, yet what is killing them is killing them. And you see a situation where a poor man does not eat a diet food,
a balanced
diet food, yet he's living. So what's keeping both? For me, I think, yeah, if you have the money, the situation we are in right now, not everybody can accommodate or can afford all this. So at the end of the day, like I did mention earlier on, people ate a lot of, is there anything like an eatable thing during the war? But they survived. Some of them are.
So should we be eating
So
some unprintable things now because
No,
you know
I'm not saying-
there's a
what I'm
crunch?
saying is- What I'm saying is
Uh-huh.
those things we neglect because I believe so much the society or the environment has crafted a way of living for the people. And
I agree.
everybody's now forcing him or herself to fit into that way, that pattern.
Give us instances. You already told us abacha. All right, brilliant. All right, I would never have thought about that. But then abacha is good food. It's even a delicacy in the eastern part of Nigeria, and it's cheap. You know, all right, you talked about okra. Give us other things people can tap
Abacha
into.
is cheap. Okay,
I would have said beans, but
beans even it's not that cheap. You know, doctor mentioned prawn. Who is going to
Who is going to buy prawn?
When you
When you can't buy
afford
fish.
you're going to prawn.
Okay.
But then, you know, there's this snail. I remember these small, I don't even know the big one. There's
Those
this
small ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Sometimes
remember-
they pile them on sticks.
Yes.
I
My
know
mom
those ones.
used to use it to cook soup for us. But another challenge we have is some of the bush or the bushes around that could produce where these things can be gotten. Either they've set them on fire or modernization or civilization has taken off those things. What's it called? Is it not prawn? Mushroom. All these are natural things that comes up from the earth. They are very medicinal. They are very good. There's watermelon. I just saw something like this. This is like watermelon, isn't it? Watermelon is not expensive, and it comes out when you join it with ugu for my place. You join it with ugu. You are make with crayfish, with pepper. You're making a good soup to eat.
Don't
You
forget
even
onions.
need fish. Oh, you don't even need a fish. You don't even need meat. That's vegetable, isn't it, doctor? And you're good to go.
Yes.
So for me, it's if anyone your money can afford now, please don't do it because you want to show. You know, because a lot of things we show, you see on Facebook or TikTok, somebody's eating, you're showing. What do you need to show? Eat what can keep you now and pray. Whatever, because you
Don't forget
do without prayer.
Of course, you can add something. You can't, Joseph. Go ahead.
What we need to do basically is to sit down. Bible says if you want to build a house, you sit down, count the cost, know how much it's going to cost you to build the house. Now, you have to be intentional about the things you eat.
Recording
because
stopped.
you're not just you have to be intentional
ahead,
about
I'm
what you
listening.
eat. You're not just yes, okay. You have to be intentional about what you eat. You have to sit down first, ask yourself, why am I eating this food? Eat this or that. Now, remember back in the days, you know, under
Recording in
my mom
progress.
used to get us okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear
Yes. Yes.
me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Network
Go
is bad.
ahead.
Nine mobile is still like okay. I remember back in
I
the days,
can
I
hear
would
you.
buy cassava. To boil cassava, we use cassava to eat beans. You know, that was then. Or we use corn and beans. You know, I know it's now people still do it now. I see it once in a while. You know, and all that.
Corn and
now,
beans, yes,
intentional about your
adalu.
food. Yes, it's being intentional about your food. Now, you can do pap and akara, or you can do pap and beans, or you can do gari and beans. Now, the thing is not just to eat this thing. Now, one is to eat, another thing is to burn the food. Because sometimes people just go, just eat this, eat that. You're given a prescription by the doctor, or you have a medical problem. How do I handle this problem? Look, they are tied together. This morning, I was walking out in the clinic with my client, and I looked straight ahead as at 6:30, 7 o'clock. The sun was already up, and it was shining, and it was so nice. And I said to them, I said, you know what? In the village, people go to the farm by 6 o'clock in the morning. They go to the farm. At 6:30, they're already farming, tilling, hoeing, doing stuff in the farm, getting fresh sun. The sun is so nice and so clean. But in the city here, we run away from the sun because we don't want to sweat, because we don't want
Exactly.
to get dirty. We don't want our clothes to get stained, right? That is one. The sunlight is pure. Number two, your food. Food is key. Yes, I understand. Whether carbohydrate, protein, fat, and oil, salt, and other mineral and water. Remember, there is water in this. Whether you're eating your food, whether you're eating healthy or not, there is water to go with it. Physical
must
activity.
drink
Because
lots
sometimes
of
people
water.
eat lots of carbs, they don't burn it. Yes, they eat, they don't burn, they store. So you find out, look, why are people falling sick, why are people ill? Because one thing is to eat, another thing is for the nutrients to go down in your body, to flow through your bloodstream, and use for every cell, every ligament, every tissue, every nerve every tendon, you understand, both large, small, every part of your body, because your made need different function, like doctor said. So basically, your food, whether you're eating swallow with any kind of soup, whether it's afang soup, whether it's atama soup, whether it's a goosey soup, whether it's a bono soup, whether it's okra soup, whether it's white soup, whether it's banga soup, a little bit of oil, you have these things on the go, whether it's starch, like you like it. But you know that, look, you don't have to eat. If you can't make fried rice, it's fine. You can do jollof rice. You can do white rice. You can do rice and beans. The goal there is, like the topic says, living and eating healthy. Now, if I'm eating healthy, I have a little bit of rice. I have a little bit of beans. This is carbs. This is protein, right? A little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
Not just to fill your plate with rice like we know how to. So you're eating carbs. One is to eat the carbs. The next thing is, how do I burn the carbs? A lot of people don't burn carbs. They just store. They go into the office. They spend 7-8 hours sitting down in activity. It just sits there. You're wondering what is wrong. 2 months after, you're having heart problem. I have diabetic. I don't know, I have diabetes. Now what's wrong? What did I do? Am I taking too much excess of sugar drink? It might not be that. It just means that, look, your body is not processing the sugar. You're not using it, right? So you're eating this, eating that, not burning it. So your food, your water intake, sleep, right? All these things, they go together. It will help the nutrients in your body from the food you eat. Whether it's just small vegetable, like doctor said, like madam said, small vegetable and just small swallow. Because you're using your sleeping on time, getting that sleep and drinking water and exercising, you'll be fine.
All right, thank you so much, Joseph. All right, while you were speaking, somebody here was reacting, and Efa Umfawa says, good afternoon. I remember in those days where our parents cooked daily meals just for that day. Mostly what they cook is vegetables with snails, mushrooms, and fresh fish. Okay, I agree with that. All right, so I'm still going to be giving us tips. All right, I hope it works and I hope it helps help somebody in this at this point in time. But I do know there's something called seasonal eating, and it's foolproof. It has always worked. Seasonal eating, that is eating what is in season. Not only is it fresh, it's also cheaper than most other things you get in the market because it's in season at that point. So eat what is in season, and that way you can get by. Plus, we've also identified a lot of things you can be tapping into. We mentioned vegetables. Lots of vegetables, especially the types you can at least steam them a little bit before you eat. Add your pepper, your onions, crayfish like Moki has advised, and you're good to go. Meat is expensive, fish is expensive, prawn is expensive, snail is expensive, so what do we eat? I don't know, but I know there's something called tofu. A lot of vegans eat that, and some people in a religious sect, I don't want to start mentioning names, also, encourage their members to eat that. It's against eating meat, or beef. All right, it's made from soya beans. All right, and it's made in such a way that you can incorporate it into your soup. I have eaten it before, into your soup and your stews, and it tastes exactly like meat. It's like you're eating meat, and it's highly proteinous. Please go online, Google it, and do your own research on that. All right, these are smart things people are now beginning to bring back, at this very tight point in time. All right, we're going to take a break at this point. We're still going to come back, and then we'll be sharing with those in the studios again on, how we can get by in this very tight period. But first, recently, I think 2 weeks ago on the show, I interviewed a young lady virtually who lives in the UK. Really why I'm interested is because she's doing something that a lot of Nigerians should be doing at this point in time. We're talking about economic crunch. People who should extend a helping hand to those who are less fortunate, and that's what Chidinma has been doing all the way from her base in the UK. She's a Nigerian. She came back home and she did not like what she saw. All right, so this is the 4th time she has been reaching out to Nigerians, especially the elderly in the society. Why am I talking about it? This is one individual, which means you don't always have to wait for your government to do things for you. If you can, the little you can do can also go a long way. She reached out to the elderly, all right, who cannot afford to go to the hospital to check their health, and she did free health checks. She even gave food palliative. I mean, imagine. Those are the kind of things we want to be reporting that Nigerians are doing. All right, so under Farm Health, she's a pharmacist, by the way, she decided to extend a helping hand to people. Get your blood sugar checked, do your check your BP, you know, and things like that. And if you can't even afford treatment, she will also help you somehow and all of that. Let's quickly go and see what she did recently in Lagos. We'd like to say thank you. Thank you to Chidinma Odo Obi for what you're doing for poor and indigent Nigerians. And on that note, please, if you're a Nigerian, you don't even need to be living in Nigeria. Nigerians need a lot of help right now, all right? A lot is going on. Every day on this program, I sound the alarm. That's because I'm very close to the grassroots and I know what is going on in that regard. People cannot feed, talk more of going to the hospital to access health care. If you can help people, nothing is too little. Help people, all right? That is why God blessed you. The essence of us being here on earth as humans is actually so that one can reach one. All right. Thank you again to Chidinma for reaching out to people. Okay, so we're still living and eating healthy. Okay. All right. So very quickly, Dr. Abuto, your parting shot on this issue of Nigerians adopting a healthy lifestyle in the face of economic challenges.
Thank you very much. We are in the dry season. Though we've had some rain in between, but basically we're in the dry season up to about February next year. Now in this period, there is a danger of dehydration. You see, food is not all about the solid that you take, it's also about the fluid that you take. So this is a period that the body needs fluid. Not just the water, but you need the juicy fruits.
Okay.
This is the time we need the juicy fruits.
Fruits with so much
yeah,
juice.
because you see, when you starve the body of juice or fluid, then you are endangering the transportation of the nutrients that ordinarily would have been derived from the food you've taken.
Okay.
And that also depletes your hemoglobin. It depletes, you see, it depletes your blood count, because without fluid, nutrients cannot be transported around the body. So this is the time, my parting shot here is, we should also look in the direction
of fruits. All right. So as you're drinking your water, incorporate fruits.
Exactly.
Juicy fruits.
Exactly.
Examples: oranges.
Exactly.
I know pineapples too are quite juicy.
Yeah.
Watermelon.
Yeah,
okay. What else? Help me out here.
Yeah.
Tangerines. They are in season.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cucumber. Like, you know, fruits that have juice. Yeah. We need them right now. And then of course we can't emphasize on water enough. Drink lots and lots and lots of water, okay, to do you good at this point in time. In fact, it can also hold your belly when there's no food yet. I know I'm laughing. Moki, your parting shot on this, please.
Well, thank you. I have to say this. It's very, very important. A quick one. When the children of Israel were going from Egypt to Canaan, okay? The scripture made us to understand that God sustained them. These guys passed through wilderness where there was nothing growing. Where am I going at that? For us to live here, no matter what you eat, pray that God sustains you. Pray that that which you're putting into your system will do your body no harm. If you talk about this fruit, check the fruits that they're even bringing in, full of chemicals. So at the end of the day, it's not just who is eating well, it's about God sustaining us. We can't do without Him. All these recommendations, they are very well okay. Jump if you have to jump, exercise, come out on the sun, but you are in the city. Where do you have time to come out on the sun? Do you understand what I'm saying? See, a lot of things are not practicable because of the situation we find ourselves. Not everybody can afford good food. So what do? So who sustains them? It is still God.
Okay, so you are very emphatic on the God factor
Yes.
in all of this. So
And then eat the one your money
eat
can
what you can afford, and then also
pray that it does you
pray
good.
that. All right, thank you, Moki. All right, Joseph, I don't know if you're still on standby. Let's have your parting shot as well, very quickly. I cannot hear you, Joseph. All right, I can hear you.
The body is your house. Your body is your house. Your body is your domicile. You need to take care of this body, and you give account
Yes,
to
you
how
do.
you spend your life in this body. So what you do to the body matters. What you eat, what you absorb, not just only what you eat. Now, if you're gonna do fruits and vegetables, it's not expensive. The aboki, the malam sells fruits. Fine.
Wow, the audio in that last part
Madam
is
just said.
really distorted.
Yes, can you hear me now?
It's distorted, but I'm sure we get the message. All right, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you have to be somewhere. Thank you for joining us virtually on the show. That has been Joseph Obed Etiara. He is a fitness coach, a wellness enthusiast, and a food scientist. Thank you again for joining us. And of course, my guest in the studio has been Dr. Solomon Abuto, who is a natural health specialist. He's also a natural health contributor, you know, to magazines.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, it's my
for
pleasure. It's my
taking the
pleasure.
time. Moki, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for canceling the appointment you have to make it to the show. Thank you so very much. All right, so I hope the discussion, seriously speaking, I hope the conversation today will help somebody out there. We do know that a lot of families are going through a lot. There's been a lot of downsizing going on, and people are adjusting their lifestyle, all right, to actually accommodate what they can afford, or how the economy is carrying us to where we don't know. All right, but then we still must eat, and we have to get by. So like we have advocated on the program this afternoon, incorporate loads and loads of vegetables into your diet. Even though they're expensive, they are still like the most affordable things you can get in the market. All right, we have so many. You have ugu, we have your greens, your spinach, we have your shoko, you have your tete, you have your bure, that's your water leaf, you have okra. All right, so tap into all of this and so much more. Eat a lot of vegetables, all right, spice them up, make them flavorful, use onions, ginger, garlic, pepper, all right, and all of that. If you can afford fish, do so. If you can afford beef, do so. If you cannot, all right, still stay within the borders of vegetable, and you are still doing yourself good. Don't forget your fluids, like Dr. Abuto said, water and fruit, and check your health. All right, thank you so much for watching and for the contributions. All right, tomorrow, same time, God willing, we'll be back, and it will be time for us to talk what's trending in entertainment. All right, have yourself a good day and stay healthy.